Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode. Yet, very powerful one, and something which I downloaded in my today's morning meditation. The messages which come in the morning meditations are usually directly from the source, and they offer a lot of profound clarity to me. And the whole purpose of sharing these with you is to honor you and the place where you are in your spiritual journey. So today's message is about understanding and going beyond the toxic masculine and toxic feminine energies within us. Although traditionally they apply to the masculine energy applies to men and feminine energy applies to women, please note that we are here talking about the energies and not essentially men and women. So what is essentially the toxic masculine and toxic feminine energies? We live in a reality where we are culturally and environmentally some product of the beliefs which we have received from the environment around us as well as through our own experiences. Experiences could include both primary and secondary. Primary would be your first-hand experiences and also a sub-primary, which means experiences of those around you, including your parents, including your teachers, caregivers, grandparents, aunts, uncles, basically all the people around you with whom you interacted in the first 5 years of your life. Secondary experience, on the other hand, means the kind of books you read, the television series you watch, the movies you watch, the news you look at, basically everything which doesn't directly pertain to you but indirectly makes a part of your belief system. Toxic masculine and toxic feminine energies are as a result of the imbalance in your belief system and also creates the kind of polarity in your physical body, because your belief system impacts you energetically and energy then once again impacts your belief system, impacting your physical body. So it's like a yin and yang of life where your body and your energy and your body are directly connected to each other. Now, this brings us to what technically means toxic masculine and toxic feminine energies and how do they arise. But before that, if you would want to identify what exactly is a toxic masculine and toxic feminine energy, I'm going to quickly brief on what is masculine and what is feminine energy. Masculine is the energy of the universe, which is the energy of the giver, which is the energy of having a base, a foundation. It is about having a clear, steadfast, action-oriented approach in life. The feminine energy, on the other hand, is the flow of the universe. It is the energy in motion. It is the creativity. It is the power of creation. It is, if masculine is the foundation, the creative part of the foundation is what gives energy to the feminine. Feminine energy is also flow and motion. To give you a very basic example, when a river flows, the banks of the river form the masculine energy because they hold space for the river to flow, whereas the waters of the flowing river are the feminine energy. This was one of the best definitions I received about feminine energy. And if masculine is the giver, feminine is the receiver. If masculine is the action, feminine is the emotion. All we require is to have our balanced energies so that the polarities do not trouble us. Now, what would be a toxic masculine energy look like? A toxic masculine energy would traditionally look like two polarities. Now, what are polarities? Polarities are extremes. And our addiction to polarity is what keeps us stuck in the loop of unhappiness, of feeling disconnected, and all of that. So the toxic masculine has two polarities. The first polarity of a toxic masculine, and here we are specifically talking about a dating scenario and the relationships, because of course there are many areas in life where the masculine and feminine polarities show up. But if you are someone who has been unhappy in your relationship, or if you feel disconnected from your partner, or if you have broken up, separated from your partner, and if you're looking at what actually went wrong, this is something which would really help you. A toxic masculine energy dwindles between two polarities. The first polarity is where the man doesn't want to commit to you. He is very wishy-washy. He is not sure if he wants to be with you. He is giving mixed signals. At one point of time, you feel he really loves you. He is totally crazy about you. And the next moment, he is totally disinterested. He ghosts you. He doesn't look back. He gives you a very lukewarm treatment, or even worse, a cold treatment. And it keeps you confused. So if a man is confusing you, know that it's a toxic masculine energy. And no matter what you do, this toxic masculine energy is not going to change, because the man forms the first part of the masculine toxic polarity, which is the wishy-washy man. The second end of the masculine polarity is where the man is totally running behind you. Now, this is the kind of man who will love bomb you, who will gift you, who will send you a lot of things, and you will say that, but I don't feel anything for the man. In fact, you would not like the fact that he's so clingy, he's constantly running behind you, he's constantly bombarding you with messages, how are you, what are you doing? This is the other end of the polarity. Now, when I was in my 20s, most of my friends told me, and this was exactly formed a part of my belief system, that guys are only of two categories, which is either they will cling to you and run behind you, or they will run away from you. And I remember one of my close friends telling me that say yes to the man who is clingy on you and who runs behind you and who love bombs you, because the other polarity will be you will be running behind the man and he will not be interested in you, which will again make you the score 0, which means there will be no relationship. Whereas in case of the second polarity, the man who is constantly running behind you, chasing you, messaging you day, night, throughout, it's someone who is interested in you and he loves you. That's what my friend told me. And you should say yes to him, otherwise you will stay single all your life. Now, both these polarities never made any sense to me internally, energetically, and I always believed that there is something better than this. This is not the way relationships work. After I went on my spiritual journey and I learned from various teachers, I understood that both of these men were nothing but showing the toxic masculine polarities, polarity 1 and polarity 2. Women believe that they have to say yes to the man who love bombs them and who is clingy on them, because they believe that there is only toxic masculinity which exists, and there is nothing which is what we call as the conscious masculine energy. And surprisingly, if you are operating from the wounded feminine energy, you will only keep attracting toxic masculine men until you heal and reach a place where you will be a vessel for allowing the toxic masculine energy to not approach you, and instead the conscious masculine energy to approach you. As wishy-washy and as fairy tale it may sound to you, a lot of people laugh at people who believe in the consciousness as they are the ones who believe in fairy tales. But the truth is, a conscious relationship is very much possible. But for that, you as a feminine need to heal from your toxic patterns. Now, this itself is one of the biggest proofs of healing required at the feminine level. Now, many women say that if I'm going to heal, what is the man going to do? If I'm going to do all the work, what is he going to do? Now, ladies, please understand that when you start doing this work of healing your own toxic patterns, which would include wounds of abandonment, wounds of betrayal, wounds of injustice, wounds of shame, guilt, and so on and on and on. Now, when you start healing these wounds, there are two things which occur. First and foremost, these toxic men start exiting your life, because they can no longer be at the energetic level, because you have closed your polarities as a feminine, and hence the toxic masculine men will not be attracted to you anymore. So category A and category B men will not approach you because they will not like your energy. So if there is a man in your life who is being in his toxic masculine nature, you will either break up with him, separate with him, you might even end a long-term relationship with him, because you are now creating the space energetically for the conscious masculine to enter your life. The other polarity, which is the men who bomb you continuously with love, so basically it's not love, it is called love bombing, but it is not love, it is fanning the ego. Many times I have seen my own friends saying yes to the men who were clingy and who were running behind them, only to understand that within a year of the marriage, all the love vanishes, and because they were only fanning their ego. And when you said yes to them, their fanned ego got quiet, and now they were no longer interested in you because they are operating from a toxic energy too. Before I describe to you what a conscious masculine looks like, I also want to talk about the feminine wounds, or what we call as the toxic feminine energy. Now you would mean, does that mean I am toxic too? So yes, if you are attracting toxic partners category A or category B, you are a toxic feminine too. The reason why a lot of marriages are not working right now is because women have toxic energies and they have only attracted the toxic masculine. The last 2 decades, I think a lot of times people on media, in television, in movies glorified the toxic masculine energy, where the hero is chasing the heroine. She doesn't like him. She finds him, I feel this energy very stalkerish, but we found it romantic only in Bollywood movies, and a lot of times we believed that is the way a man pursues a woman. The other toxic masculine energy is technically where the woman is heartbroken by the love of her life, whom she considers the love of her life, the man who ghosts her, takes her for granted, and doesn't really look at her. Now, because we glorified the toxic masculine, we believed that a conscious masculine doesn't exist. Why did that happen? Because we at a feminine level, we believed that we only have these 2 options, and because we had wounds of abandonment, which means we believe that when we start loving someone, they will abandon us, or we believe that we are not good enough and hence a partner will betray us with someone else, or we had the wounds of rejection, which means glorifying the man who rejected us 100 times just because we want to feel that we are not good enough and we have to prove ourselves to get better so that we become deserving of him. Classic wound of rejection and betrayal. And over a period of time, we started getting on dating apps, matrimonial apps, finding partners the wrong way without understanding what the polarities within us are telling. And the reason for multiple separations, divorces, breakups is not because women are getting independent, but it is because both men and women have a lot of toxic, unhealed parts of themselves which need to be addressed. Now this brings us to, what can you do as a feminine? If there are any masculines listening to this, you can share this with your partners to make your relationships better. But if you are a feminine listening to this, know that the first step in healing yourself is healing the wounds of abandonment, betrayal, injustice, rejection, humiliation and guilt and shame. Now these are the wounds which keep you stuck in the toxic feminine polarity. The toxic feminine polarity again has 2 extremes. The first extreme is where the woman is guarded, she has walls around us, and with that wall she is not allowing any man to enter her space. The other end of the polarity is where the woman is clingy, saying yes to every man who approaches her and stays in that energy. Now to make matters even more complicated, I see a lot of women stepping into toxic masculine roles, which means they are chasing men, or they are acting hot and cold. And because of that, the men move into the toxic feminine polarity, which include putting huge walls around them or clinging to women. Now there is a very minute difference between the toxic masculine and toxic feminine energies, but they are very interrelated. So as a woman, what can you do? So first and foremost, I always talk about doing deep, comprehensive shadow work, which will help you understand what are the wounds which you are facing. And once you look at the wounds of abandonment and rejection or injustice and identify those wounds, you will start understanding that you can heal those wounds. Work with a therapist, work with an inner child therapist, work with a self-love therapist, or someone who is trained to help you out with these roles. This shadow work and wound healing is a very deep work which you have to do in presence of a teacher, because they will hold space for you. It can be traumatic at times. It can take toll on your physical body because you are releasing years of subconscious programming within you. It could have come from your family, which means it could be ancestral. It could be a past birth experience locked in your soul field. But no matter what it is, the teacher will be able to help you. Teacher or a therapist or a coach who is able to help you through it will help you release all those wounds to move back to your healed energy. Now finally coming to conscious masculine energy. Conscious masculine is a man who approaches you with a very open-minded objective where he wants to be in a relationship with you, but he will also give you the space to be you. He will not put any of his opinions on you. He will give you the space and take up your space. He will allow you to grow as a feminine, holding space for you, and will make sure that you use your own ability, your own energy to blend with him. Together you both flow like a river and its banks. We will talk more about the conscious masculine man in our upcoming podcasts. But well, for now, I think this was one of the most profound realizations, and hence one of the most powerful talks which I feel I have done till now on this channel. Thank you very much for listening to us, and if this helps you or any of those on a spiritual journey, whether it is a ascension journey, twin flame journey, soulmate journey, or you are someone who is just wanting to get better in your relationship, please share it with them. I'm sending you lots of love, best wishes, and love and light on your healing journey. Thank you.